Can the typical person become a millionaire? Great article by my man. Gotta make sure my dog isn't digging where he's not supposed to be digging, knucklehead. Great article by my man. Who's this guy? Nick something here. Let's check him out right here. Nick Maggiuli. Definitely he's Irish. Definitely Irish. Maggiuli, definitely an Irish team. And he's with Ritholtz. All right, so Ritholtz, they got some guys that write pretty good up there. They got, what's his name? Ben Carlson over there at Ritholtz. A big fan of Ben. Good article. Anyway, it says, how many times have you heard something like this? If you start saving $300 a month at age 25, you'll be a millionaire by the time you're 60. Of course, Nick says that assumes a 9.5% rate of return. Yep. But they also include that you have to save what you save over time doesn't change, and your rate of return is high enough and consistent every year. All right, so you're saving $300 a month each and every year without any change, and that you get a 9.5% rate of return year over year, which is that's impossible, as Ralph Wiggum would say. All right. About this article too, is he says $300 a month. Well, in today's numbers, that sounds easy. Back 33 years ago, it would not be. In 1989, you're 20 to 24 years old. Your real median income was just over $20,000. I think it was 23. Yeah, right there. So saving $300 a month, that's $3,600 a year on a $23,000 income. That's like a 15% savings rate, man. No one's doing that when you're just starting out. It's not happening. And so that's why I just hate these guys like, oh, you should be a millionaire if you just put $300 a month. Oh, by the way, you like my shirt? Make men great again. That's the Officer Tatum thing. Make men great again. How dare you make America great again? America was never great. Men were never great. I got that from the Officer Tatum store. Make men great again. No, make men again. That's what it was. Make men again. Yeah, whatever it was. You get it. All right, so how many people are actually millionaires right now? If it's so easy to do, let's see how many people are millionaires right now. So here's a median net worth. This is just net worth. That's all assets combined. The cohort here who is 65 to 74 at the end of 2022, the median net worth is only $410,000. The median. That means 50% of the people had more, 50% of the people had less. So this whole idea that anyone can save $300 a month and become a millionaire by the time you're 60 years old. No one's starting with $300 a month when they're in 1989. No one's starting there because their median income is only $23,000, man. All right, let's keep going because what's my man's name here? What's the guy's name? Ben? Is that his name? Nick. Nick Maggiuli has a couple of things. It's pretty interesting. He gives an example of someone starting in 1989 who's 2024. You can see the real median income kind of leveled off here. Real means it's adjusted with inflation. So you can see from basically 2008 or so to 2022 is kind of leveled off there. But it has jumped from 2012 on. But either way. All right, so he gives us a real data, which I think is pretty interesting. Yeah, right here. You can see why saving $300 a month in 1999 would be much harder than saving $300 a month today, because $300 a month in 1989, that's your income. $300 a month today, so you can't sit there and say if you only would have saved $300 a month in 1989 when you're 20 to 24, you'd be a millionaire by now. All right, so let's keep going. So then he says, given this income stream right here, we started with about $20,000 a year of gross income. By the time we're basically 60 years old now, we have about $90,000 a year of gross income. And that's real money, by the way. It's after inflation has kicked in. So he says, how would you be a millionaire with that kind of income stream? All right. So they invest all their savings in a U.S. stock and bond portfolio, rebalance it. The portfolio starts at 95% stocks, 5% bonds in 1989 when they're 20 to 24 years old. Each year, they reduce the stock weighting by 1%. So again, they're starting right here. They invest all their money in a stock and bond, a U.S. bond portfolio. But then what's happening here is they start with 95% stocks, 5% bonds, and they're going to rebalance every year. And they're going to reduce their stock holdings by 1% each and every year. That means when they are the age of 53 to 57, their portfolio will be 62% stocks, 38% bonds. Does that make sense? So they're starting with 95% stocks, 5% bonds. They're putting everything in here, and then they're going to rebalance it every year. And then on top of that, they're going to reduce their stock exposure by 1% a year. Excuse me. They pay no tax on their investments and no transaction fees. All right, so check this out. Because it's going to be nearly impossible to save 10 to 15% of your portfolio, of your income, But when you're just starting out, because you got a house to pay for, you got debts to pay for, maybe, I mean, who knows, student loans, whatnot. He says, so let's just save 1% a year to start and go up 1% each year until we're at 20% when we're at our highest earning peak. That's kind of interesting. So this method allows for ramp up savings over time. 20% may be too high of a savings rate for some households, but not if you got your debt paid off. Talked to lots of people, now their debts are paid off, the kids out of the house, they're able to save a lot more money. Or you can save a fixed percentage each year. While this is the simplest method for saving money, it can be difficult to implement, especially those with a lower income, 100%, because you got bills to pay. Wait until your income is above a threshold and start saving a fixed percentage. This allows for a sufficient income to be reached before you start saving. However, because it doesn't alter the savings rate over time, this could lead to undersaving, and it takes away the time value of money. I mean, every year you can have money just sitting there, compounding. It's just, that's where you make your bang. All right, so he basically, remember what we're doing, 95% stocks, 5% bonds starting out. Every year we're reducing our stock portfolio by 1%, and we're rebalancing every year as well. So if we say 5% of our income, and it's over 33 years, we'd only have $300,000 at the end of 33 years. If we save 10% of our income, we'd have $600,000 after 33 years. If we save 15% of our income, this is every year now. Saving 15% of the income from basically when you're just starting out, 2024, till you're 60 years old. If you save 15% of your income, and the strategy that he was talking about, you still have less than $1 million. Well, if you saved 1% to start, and it went up 1% each year until 20%, only $770,000. I mean, and this is based on pre-tax income, my man says. From 1989 to 2022, U.S. stocks returned about 7.4% a year, while bonds returned 2.9% after inflation. So it wasn't like we're not getting great rates of return. We were. That's your real return. The figure above represents how much wealth a U.S. household with a typical income would have built if they had saved in a particular way from I got cough, man. I need to stop smoking. Hey, sorry. Man. When I freaking, oh, you know what? I ate a piece of cake. All right, so this big thing to notice about these final portfolio amounts is that none of them are above $1 million. This is true even after 33 years of a pretty good market. For some context, a strategy that gets closest to $1 million, say 15% of income each year, would have required saving $1,100 a month in 2022, which is 4 times the $300 a month as usually cited from people. Just say $300 a month. Most importantly, in all our simulations, we assume that our typical household didn't pay any tax transaction costs or any management fees. Once we include these costs, the portfolio would be about 10 to 20%. Crazy. And then he said how much the typical household actually built, that wealth. And we're just going to go back to here. I mean, here we go. Here's our net worth. Typical household right here, say 55 to 64, right there is 364,000 is your typical net worth. If we just look at your financial assets, not even your house, right there. This is median. Your median net worth is right there. What was that? $67,000. Now it's in today's dollars, all right? $67,000. That's if you have any financial assets. Now, thankfully, most people do. I mean, 98% of people do. But still, look at that. Your net worth is built in your home, man. That's all there is to it. I want to go back to this guy's right. Where'd it go? Right there. So here's real median net worth by year of people born 1965 to 1969. And he's saying about 250,000, 279,000 or so. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not $1 million. Yeah, but the point being, I just want to say is, don't freaking panic if you don't have $1 million. I was talking to this guy yesterday. I think it was yesterday. He's like, I'm starting out late, and I don't have that much money saved. And he's like, yeah, dude, you're freaking crazy. He's like, I think he's 58. Can't remember how his wife is. Think a little bit younger. I said, dude, you're crushing. You're all right. You're all right. Just give yourself a break, man. If you haven't saved $1 million, give yourself a break. You're gonna be just fine. Can I guarantee it? No, because I'm not God. God willing, of course. Not. And if loving the Lord is wrong, I don't want to be right. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you later. Love to your thoughts.